Those who lived through Margaret Thatcher don't just remember her, they still feel her. Her reign as Prime Minister wasn't merely a period in office, it was a rupture, a turning point, a transformation that reshaped Britain socially, politically, and economically. She came to power in 1979, after a chaotic decade in which Britain was battered by strikes, blackouts, rubbish piling in the streets, and a sense of national decay. The Labour government had been politically decapitated by a trade union movement that had grown too powerful and too indifferent to public suffering. Thatcher rode in on a wave of exhaustion and set about declaring war on the old order. From the start, she governed with cold resolve. There was no soft rhetoric. Her policies were blunt instruments, like the decision to abolish free school milk for children, not for financial necessity, but to send a message. Britain would no longer mollycoddle its citizens. She broke the print unions, then turned her focus on the National Union of Teachers, and finally, the most dangerous adversary of all, the National Union of Mine Workers, led by Arthur Scargill. The 1984-85 miners' strike became a showdown for the nation's soul. But Thatcher came prepared. She'd stockpiled coal, militarized the police response, and framed the conflict not as a labor dispute, but as a battle to save democracy. In truth, she dismantled the last bastion of organized working-class resistance. It was strategic, calculated, and executed with precision, and many applauded her. Because Thatcher didn't just fight unions, she won wars. When Argentina invaded the Falklands in 1982, she dispatched the British military 8,000 miles away to reclaim the islands. Her victory restored a sense of national pride, and politically, it bought her a second term. But with that second term came a deeper, more dangerous agenda. Now emboldened, Thatcher launched her full embrace of Milton Friedman's economic philosophy. She became not just an advocate, but the poster child of monetarism. Low inflation at any cost, deregulation of markets, and a deep belief that the private sector could do everything better than the state. She sold council homes to their tenants, promoting a property-owning democracy. She privatized British Airways, British Gas, British Telecom, British Steel. She deregulated the financial sector in what became known as the Big Bang, transforming the City of London into a freewheeling financial hub. Greed became aspirational. Entrepreneurship was celebrated. Government became the problem. Markets became the answer. In public, she was unbeatable. At the dispatch box, she dominated. On the international stage, she eclipsed even Ronald Reagan, who was increasingly seen as a symbolic figurehead. Thatcher, by contrast, led with fire, with conviction, with sheer, unrelenting force. By all external measures, she had the traits of the Spartan elite: ruthless focus, unshakable will, strategic brilliance, the ability to endure and inflict pain in pursuit of a higher goal. But here lies the contradiction, and the fatal flaw. Because in Sparta, the greatest warriors were never defined by what they conquered, but who they served. Spartan discipline was never for personal enrichment. It was for the city, for the collective, for the people. Thatcher had the Spartan tools, but she wielded them in service of a dogma that undermined the very foundations of social solidarity. Before her, homelessness in Britain was rare, a shocking anomaly. By the late 1980s, it had become a common sight in major cities. By the time she died in 2013, food banks, non-existent in her first term, had exploded across the country. The working poor, once buffered by unions and nationalized industries, were now disposable cogs in a deregulated market machine. The privatizations, far from delivering competitive prices and better services, simply transferred public monopolies into private ones. The profits went to shareholders. The risks stayed with the people. Thatcher didn't just roll back the state, she made it hostile to the very citizens it was meant to protect. This wasn't accidental. It was intentional. Her economic beliefs weren't a side effect, they were her core mission. She genuinely believed the market would deliver not just wealth, but virtue. That belief has since been proven tragically wrong. In truth, her embrace of Friedman's ideology was not a show of strength. It was a catastrophic misjudgment, the great failure of her legacy. She confused the toughness of austerity with moral clarity. She mistook market forces for human progress. And she sold an entire country on the illusion that individual prosperity could replace collective well-being. This is why she fails the final test of the Spartan mindset. Yes, she had personal discipline, courage, and unwavering conviction. But she invested those qualities into an economic project that bred division, despair, and cruelty. The real Spartan mindset isn't about domination. It's about the duty to fight for something greater than yourself. And in that, she utterly failed. Her fall was as Shakespearean as her rise. By 1990, her own cabinet had turned against her. The poll tax riots and her increasingly isolated leadership style triggered a revolt. It wasn't the opposition that brought her down. It was her own party. And in the final days, when she begged for support and found none, some say the signs of early dementia were already visible. Her iron will, once a force of nature, had become brittle. The unraveling had begun. In her final years, she became a symbolic figure, honored but increasingly irrelevant. The Britain she built was not one of shared prosperity, but gated wealth and growing poverty. Food banks became the norm. Zero-hour contracts replaced stable jobs. The dream of Thatcherism had curdled into precarity. Her tragedy is this. Margaret Thatcher had the Spartan armor, but wore it in the service of false gods. She marshaled extraordinary strength, but fought the wrong war. Her toughness served a doctrine that devalued community, compassion, and common purpose. She didn't fall because of weakness. She fell because of faith, a blind, fervent belief in an economic ideology that dismantled the very nation she claimed to uplift. History may remember her as a titan, but from a Spartan mindset lens, she was a titan with no soul, a warrior who mistook destruction for discipline, a leader who chose ideology over humanity. She was not destroyed by others. She was destroyed by what she chose to believe in. Margaret Thatcher was not a Spartan. She was a paper Spartan, cut from steel, but hollow at the core. Order the Spartan mindset today and embark on your journey toward becoming the leader your world needs. Let your struggles forge you into a warrior of character and resolve. The Spartan mindset provides a comprehensive and actionable guide to personal development and resilience. Available now for just $19.99. Purchase your copy from the links in the description box below and on this channel's homepage, because your future begins with the right mindset. The Spartan Mindset.